Hear me out. What if all the old school black metal stuff didn't sound like absolute okay? Now, before you try to rip my soul apart in the comments, guys, it's just an experiment. It's just for fun. I'm not trying to say that all the old bands, like there isn't some special element and it's not nostalgic. Just fucking time out, okay? Just stop it. This is just for fun. So what if Transylvanian Hunger, Darkthrone didn't sound like shit? What if? Because I have a theory that if black metal had a little bit better production quality, more people would enjoy it. Now I understand that there's these people that like if it doesn't have tin roof recording, it doesn't sound like shit, it's not black metal. Yeah, it's part of the ethos and all these things. Fine, that's cool. I get it all. But what if? So that's it. It's just for fun. It's just an experiment. So if you don't want to get your feelings hurt, or if you think that you're true black metal only, feel free to fuck off and troll the internet. But let's just, for the adults in the room here, to understand this is a cool experiment, let's try this. So I actually recorded this on my mobile setup. I'm making a video about this. This is with the Creative Devices laptop, the G16, and you can't see this in the shot, but with the Audient ID4, amazing setup. I have videos coming about this because this is just an incredible setup. All right, so into the DAW here. So what I did is I used ELE from Spectre Digital, actually. I just thought that the source tones should be as good as they should be, and I don't really want to do a lot of mixing work. So we could use ELE, which is acoustic. There's no trigger. It's all very acoustic sounding, but it's high quality. And it was very simple to program this song on drums, obviously, but this is what the drums sound like. Very high quality, natural acoustic sounding drums. Sounds great. Literally didn't do any EQ. Oh, I did a little bit of EQ, I guess. By the way, stock plugins here, just doing stock EQ on the kick. Things like this to try to fit it into the mix a little bit better. I ended up using some fab filter stuff here for the reverb, which I've gotten used to using, and then the multi-band to try to push down on the transient or the fundamental a little bit on the snare so it's not boomy. But otherwise, like just some stock EQ on the bus and then a stock tube compressor on the bus. Nothing amazing happening here. The bass, I want to give a special shout out here. The bass is real and the vocals obviously are real. Both the bass and the vocals were recorded by a good friend of mine for over 20 years now. It's ridiculous how long. It's insane. His name is Tim Wilson. He's actually the current bassist and vocalist for the band Massacre. You should know this band if you're into old school black and death metal, because this is an old school death metal band. They're Massacre. So that's my buddy Tim on bass and vocals. Went ahead and did this for me. It was a lot of fun. So go check out Massacre if you're into that old death metal style stuff. They're still touring. I know there's an album or something they're working on. I talk to Tim all the time. Don't really know what I can and can't say, but Tim, really good dude. Very good on the bass and vocals. The bass is very simple, obviously. I'm just running it through Parallax here. I think this is just, yeah, it's just a preset. Basic EQ and compression. Literally nothing else. Bass sounds like this. Very nicely played. Look at that freaking waveform. Just so consistent. Love it. So obviously went with like a mid grunt sound for the bass because it's black metal, right? And for some reason, black metal just doesn't have enough bass in the mixes. But I went with like a mid grunt forward bass so that it would always cut through. The guitars are very self-explanatory. The riff is very simple. What I opted to do is there's this little bit like after the verse where there's like this little harmony, not a harmony, but there's this high-end melody that's playing. I decided to play some power chords on the first and open string and then do the high melody. And then I opted, instead of having it pan left or right, I did 4 tracks. So I have 2 tracks that are just exactly what you would expect, just the guitar tone. I'll talk about the guitar tone in just a second, relax. So there's the high end melody, and then on the bottom half, we just have some rhythms. put together. Nice, big, expansive sound. I think it sounds pretty cool. The guitar tones are just Horton nameless. I just dialed this in by ear really quick. And then EQ, again, frequency, which is the stock EQ with Cubase, just used stock EQ. Now, the one thing I did do here is I did put guitar reverb on here, and I'm using Pro R, and I'm just adding a bunch of reverb to this to taste. It's about 3 seconds, so it's a pretty decent amount of reverb, but I'm mixing it into taste just to add a little bit of atmosphere, not to dilute the transients. So you can still hear the guitars. Okay, so the atmosphere is there. All right, and the vocal, Tim. I just mentioned to Tim, let's just make this a single vocal track. Let's not do any doubles. Let's just do it black metal style, but just make sure the vocals are very good. Tim's like, no problem, can do. So Tim sent me this vocal track. Sounds like this. So very basic processing here, just EQ to get rid of some of the low end rumble, mid-cut, compression to smash it down a little bit, limiting to, again, smash it down a little bit. And then we have some reverb and delay. Stock delay, the Valhalla reverb, just to give it a little bit of extra atmosphere. Nothing out of the ordinary here. So you see, like, I'm not overproducing this, guys, okay? If you waited this far, you got this far into the video, you see I'm not overproducing it. It doesn't sound like shit. There's a difference, okay? For mastering, nothing crazy. I would love to show you this, but for some reason on Windows 11 right now, it's just a blank screen. But all I did here was EQ. I have an EQ at the low end. I have a little bit of an EQ cut around, like 140 it was. And I think I bumped the high end up a little bit with the Bexandel high shelf. That's it. And then this is the maximizer here. Again, can't show you because I got to see what's going on here. But it's just a maximizer, kicking it up to, I think it was about -9 LUFS, somewhere around there. And then this is my favorite analyzer in the world that I love to check the mix with. And you can see that this is just a nice, good, well-balanced mix here. Plenty of low end, got mids, guitars, no screeching, ear-piercing, ting rough shit. It still has the element and the soul of a black metal mix, but it doesn't sound like ass. All right? Imagine if more songs, from the old days, I understand the limits of technology and whatever, but I actually don't, because there were a lot of great sounding albums in the early 90s. I know it was a choice, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of gems in the black metal world that just don't get listened to because most people can't get beyond the shitty production. That's the overview of the mix. That's what it could sound like. So I've got a playthrough video here. Go ahead and check that out. If you guys really enjoyed the video and you would like to see some other songs, maybe take some Immortal songs from back in the day, or some Mayhem, let me know if this is something you'd like me to do some more of, and I could produce some little bits here, and we could see what black metal could sound like, the old school stuff, if it didn't sound like absolute dog crap. Again, I'm not saying anything against the previous things. It's just a fun experiment, all right? If your butt hurt, just leave me alone, okay? Enjoy the playthrough video, guys. If you like this, hit like, subscribe, leave a comment below what you think of the final mix and what your opinions are, okay? Enjoy the playthrough. See you next video.